So when we look at this, we do have some big numbers. So what are our big numbers here? Well, there's only one big number. What's the one big number here? Yeah, the 144, right? So that's all we're going to worry about right there. Now, what do we say is important? If there's parentheses, you have to include the parentheses. So I'm going to write this down real quick. If there's parentheses around the big number, you got to include them. If there's an exponent with the parentheses, you've got to keep that too, because this exponent is with the parentheses. This is what I need you to take care of. If you can take care of that right there on the test, even if you get the answer wrong, I'll count it right. Okay? So let's go see real quick. We're going to go plug this into our calculator. So we're going to go to our calculator and we're going to go parent. Now I'm going to start all over. So go to regular calculator. We're going to go parentheses 144, close parentheses, hit your exponent, and then control divide. So we got 1/2. So if you can type that into the calculator, then you've taken care of your big number. Does anybody not know how to type that in right there? Is everybody good with how to hit the house top button and then turn it into a fraction? Everybody good with that? All right. So we hit enter and we get 12. So at this point, we can get rid of these two right here. So guys, at this point, as long as you choose one of those on the unified test, I'm giving you the correct answer. Okay. Now, our other rule is if we're not sure what to do, start adding up stuff. But if you start adding up stuff, it really doesn't give you anything of the answers. Does anybody remember how to actually do this? So for the most part, we would all be guessing between A and D at this point. Anytime you've got an exponent on the outside of parentheses, it's kind of like the distributive property. Now, it's not the distributive property, but it's kind of like it. And we draw these mountaintops, and mountaintops mean to multiply, okay? So if we did 1/2 times 2, you go to your calculator, do 1/2 times 2. So this is the hard part right here. If you don't know how to do this, I'm okay with that. So we're going to do 2 times 1/2. So you don't know this part right here, no big deal. This is 1. Now, we don't see a 1, but right here, and by the way, the 1 goes with the K because the K had the 2. So we don't see a 1, but I definitely see a 2 with K, and there's not supposed to be a 2. There's supposed to be a 1. Right here, there's an understood 1. So the answer would be A. But like I said, if you can at least take care of the big number, I will give you credit, okay? So it's when you can't take care of the big number that we'll have issues. All right, number 2 is review. How do we do this question? Y'all should know how to do this, even though I'm the one that's going to have to do it today. How do we do this question right here? Yeah, menu 3-1. Very good. That's what that meant. Oh, you were testing me. So yes, menu 3-1. Yes, very good. And that's exactly what I want to talk about right there. This happened on our, so she got a decimal. And this is what I want you to see. This happened on the final. So on the final, I think like the second question y'all did gave y'all a decimal. And kids didn't know what to do because it's been a long time since we've talked about how to switch a fraction to it. We took it like 2 weeks ago. You might have been gone the day we took it. I don't know. All right. So let's go to our calculator real quick, and we're going to go menu 3-1. So you did it right. That's the good part, is you did it right. And we're going to type in this equation right here. So we got -3 parentheses 3x -8 close parentheses equals 27. Is that right? Okay. And then at the end, don't forget, we got to put comma x, hit enter, and we get, so that's the decimal that she got. So the question is what do we do? Well, let me tell you first off what we don't. Don't pick a whole number. And that's what a lot of kids did. So on the STAR test, there were like, it was there was like, I don't remember what the numbers were, but it was something like, and then two fractions, something like that. I had a lot of kids that got a decimal and then went, oh, well, I guess I'll just go with 2 or 5. The one thing I can guarantee it's not is it's definitely not a whole number. If it was 5 or 2, it would have told you 5 or 2. It has to be a fraction. A fraction and the decimal are the same thing. Okay, so we know it has to be a fraction. The second thing is your calculator struggles with what we call mixed numbers. Okay, so see this 5 and 2/3? If you were going to turn this into a decimal, you would only turn the 2/3 into a decimal. You leave the 5 alone. Okay, if you type in this 5 and 2/3 the way it looks, it's going to give you the wrong answer. Okay, so the only thing you ever switch over is the decimal. Okay, so I'm going to start with this -1/3. So I'm going to go here, and what you're going to do is you're going to type in control divide -1/3. Now, if I hit enter, it leaves it as a fraction. Now, we've talked about this before, but it's been a long time. So we don't hit enter, we hit, does anybody know? Control enter. So enter will leave it a fraction. Control enter will turn this into a decimal. Control enter, do those two decimals match right there? Yeah, so your answer is going to be a -1/3. I want you to notice something else. Do y'all see in front of the decimal right here is a 0? That means that there's no whole number, okay? So immediately we could have figured out the answer because there shouldn't have been a 5 or a 12 there. Does that make sense? If this was the answer, then it would have been 5.66. And so you don't type in the 5, you just type in the decimal to see what that is right there. Okay. That was weird. This is the second kid from my 5th period class that looked like he was about to come into the class, and then like he realized that this isn't 5th period. Why would that happen? Why would kids think that this is 5th period today? That's never. Yeah, I agree. It has felt like a long day. So obviously we love questions that we can stick this into the calculator, right? But if you get a decimal, we've got to know how to turn fractions into decimals to match. This calculator can kind of turn decimals into fractions, but it doesn't do a very good job. I want to see something real quick. It's more pain than what it's worth. It's so much easier to turn these into decimals. But I haven't done this in a while, so let me see how it does. So we hit enter right here, and we get a decimal, right? So if you hit menu, if I wanted to play with the number, see right here, it says approximate to fraction. Let's see if this does anything. I'm curious if it will. I haven't played with this in a while. Nope. Oh, it did. Look at that. So it does have a button that will let you approximate fractions. I'm not going to put it up because we rarely see it. I would just rather know that we're supposed to hit control enter because you can do that for a lot of different things. But it did work on that one. So that's kind of cool. All right. So let's go take a look at. All right. So this was F right here. Number 2 was F. All right. So number 3, I don't know if y'all remember doing this. This was the cowboy rides the horse. Okay. Y'all remember me talking about cowboy rides the horse? No, y'all were asleep that day. So this is not on the STAR test. If it was, we would do 1,000,000 of these because these are really easy. And the first thing we're going to point out here is that the exponent only goes with what it's next to. This 9 stays on the outside. Okay, so you can mark off A and B because this fraction exponent does not affect the 9. Okay, so we can mark off A and B. So the 9 goes on the outside. So now the n is going to go inside of the radical. So the question is what goes inside with them? Is it the 4 or is it the 7? And The way that we remember this is the cowboy rides the horse. So the cowboy is on top, okay, and he's riding the horse. So who gets to go inside the house? The cowboy or the horse? The cowboy goes inside the horse, inside the house, and the horse has to stay on the outside. So the 4 goes inside the house while the horse has to stay on the outside. That's not on the star, but it's like I said, it is kind of easy, so we like to talk about it. Question 4. So first off, I will say, I'm going to tell y'all a story here in a second. If I have told you this story before, I apologize. I repeat stories. One of the things I love about being a teacher is every year I get a brand new set of students that have not heard my stories. And I love to tell my stories because at home, my wife, I'll be like, sweetie, did I ever tell you about? Yes, you did. Okay, but did I tell you? Yes, you did. Oh, but then, yes, you told me. I don't get to tell my stories at home because they're like, we've heard all your stories, Dad. Shut up. Okay. So I love being able to tell my story. So I might have told y'all this story before. I just can't remember this. So when I read this question right here, and it says, which expression describes the area of a square? When I see give us questions that involve figures, I draw a picture. And I learned the importance of this in my college class. So I had to take a class in college that was called problem solving. And so in the class, they taught you how to solve different problems. And so we're doing this problem one day, and the teacher says at the beginning, all right, the only way you're going to be able to solve this question is to draw a picture. And I look at the question and I'm like, nah, I think you can solve this just, by doing the work. Huh? No, we had to draw a picture. A picture. Sorry, I didn't enunciate very well. So we had to draw a picture of the problem. And so the teacher's like, that's the only way you're going to be able to solve this problem today is to draw a picture. And I'm like, no, I can solve this without drawing a picture. She says, no, you can't. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, this is the answer right here. Well, about that time, because I was talking with the teacher, all the other kids started drawing their picture. And they're like, dude, no, you're wrong. That's not the answer. And I'm like, whatever. I'm like, you're just upset that you drew the picture and you want me to draw the picture. I'm like, but you don't have to. This is clearly the answer. Well, as I'm talking to that kid, more kids start finishing. They're like, no, seriously, dude, you're an idiot. That is not the answer. Just draw the picture so you can see it. I'm like, no. I'm like, y'all just all fell for it and you're upset that I'm not falling for it. And they're like, oh my God, dude, you're an idiot. I said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to draw the picture on this one just to prove y'all wrong. But then I don't want to hear no more about this. So I go to draw the picture and I'm like, oh, I was wrong. I am an idiot. So I learned the hard way. First off, that I definitely am an idiot. But second off, that anytime you can draw a picture, draw the picture. It just tends to help. Okay. And so on this, we're talking about the area of a square. Now, remember, anytime they talk about area, anytime, it's the most basic form. The most basic form of area is length times width. Okay. However, they only give me one side right here. Okay. I only know one side, and that's this right here. So, how do I do length times width when I only have one side? Well, if you draw a really good picture, my picture is not very good, but if you draw a good picture, what do we know about a square? All the sides are what? The same, right? Okay. So if all the sides are the same, then this is also 4x to the third and y squared. Now, I don't need to put it all the way around because all I need is length times width, right? So if you get this, now we can actually find the area. So we take care of the big numbers. Multiply those big numbers. What's 4 times 4? What's 4 times 4? No, you're adding. You got to have one ear uncovered and it's too loud. Can't cover both ears. Okay, one ear uncovered. All right. So 16, yes. So take a look at this. We can get rid of immediately these two right here. Okay, get rid of immediately those two. Now, if you don't know what to do, the one other thing that I always ask y'all to do is add up all your x's, add up all your y's. So it's multiply the bigs, but then add the smalls. So you multiply the bigs and then add your small number. So in other words, add up how many x's there are all together. Okay, so you got 3x's here and 3x's there. How many x's you got all together? There you go. Look at your answers. Now, there's more rules than that right there. Multiply the bigs and add the smalls, but that's kind of the most basic. So, like, if you don't know what to do, at least try to multiply the bigs and add the smalls, right? And you know, if you can get the answer, great. And if you can't, then you, like I said, you should be able to take care of the big numbers, okay, in the calculator. And so, if you put F or G, I'm going to count this right on your test. Does that make sense? Take care of the big numbers always. All right. Question 5. Number 5 is alive. Does anybody know what movie that comes from? Number 5 is alive. Heartbroken. Classic. It's a movie back from my day. It's about a robot. They make all these robots, and this robot gets struck by lightning. And he all of a sudden becomes alive and starts learning and all this kind of stuff. And so at one point, he's like, number 5 is alive. But it's called Short Circuit. It's a funny movie. I don't know. Y'all probably wouldn't like it nowadays. It's a great movie. All right. So let's see. This right here is talking about domain. So just a reminder that the poster's over here. What letter goes with domain? X. So good test takers look at their answers pretty much right away. What can we get rid of right away? Just knowing it's got to be an X. Very good. Very good. So now we're down to just these two, right? So anytime we're doing domain, remember we have to go to the x-axis. So you go from the edge to the x-axis, from the edge to the x-axis, and see what numbers you hit. Now we knew it had to be -3 and 1. So what's this coming down to? The equal to bar with -3 or no equal to bar. So when you look at where we hit -3, is there an equal to bar or no equal to bar? So remember, equal to bar. If it's filled in, sorry, I'm coming over here. So right down here, if it's filled in, it's equal to bar. If it's not filled in, no equal to bar. So we want it to have an equal to bar, so the answer would be G. We do tend to think these are kind of easy. So we do expect that, you know, you guys would be able to do this question right here. So if you're not good at it, this is something that as the year continues, we want to make sure we get really good at. Okay, because it's not really a whole lot of math involved. It's just doing what we call cropping the picture, just like you're cropping a picture on your phone. All right, this next one we consider to be tough. However, even though we consider the whole problem to be tough, there's an easy part. Now, I don't expect you to remember the easy part when you look at this. I do expect you to remember the easy part when you look at your answers. There's something that stands out, the difference between these two and these two. What's different about them? Very good. This is dashed and that's solid. Okay. So remember, when there's no equal to bar, something's always missing. Okay. When there's no equal to bar. So, like on these questions right here, when there's no equal to bar, that's not filled in. On this, when there's no equal to bar, the line's not filled in, it's dashed. Okay. When there's an equal to bar, it's a solid line. So there's no equal to bar, we can get rid of these two right here. So get rid of these two. That I expect everybody to be able to do. Okay. Now it may take you a little bit of time to learn it because we don't see these all the time. I'll remind you that right here, it reminds you that that's dash with no equal to bar. And equal to bars are solid line. Okay. So, you know, we do expect y'all to learn that. Now, this next part is really tough. So if you don't know this next part, then guessing between these two is fine. Does anybody remember what we do? Okay. So we haven't done this a whole lot. you test the point 0, 0 to see if it's in the shaded area or not in the shaded area. And the way that you test it is you plug zeros in for X and Y. So you'll go 0 is less than 5. Y'all remember doing this at all? No? Okay, some of us do. So we're going to go type this in the calculator. If it's true, then it's in the shaded area. If it says false, then it's not in the shaded area. So if it's true, we'll pick A. If it's false, we'll pick B. So let's go type this in real quick. So we're typing in this right here. So we're going to go 0. You know what? Just kind of clean that up. So we're going to go 0. And on this one, you're allowed to put the symbol because there's no letters. So is less than 5, 0 plus 3. All right, we hit enter. It says true. So we want the one where it's in the shaded area. 0, 0 is in the shaded area. So that would be A. So guys, that's, like I said, that's tough. You know, if you can at least get it to A or B, I mean, I think you're doing good if you can get it to A or B. If you don't understand how to do this, that's even better. But oh my God, I told you I have not been doing well today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I don't know. There we go. How about that? I said A and circled 6. There you go. Yeah, this has not been one of my better days today. So, okay. So, taking a look at this one. First off, if you look at this, are there any big numbers? No, there's no big numbers here. If you end up having to guess on this, that's okay. What's our strategy when we guess on these right here? Guess a number between 1 and 20, okay? I would even go so far as to say maybe even 1 and 15, but you know, between 1 and 20, my guessing number is 5. Anytime I guess, I'm guessing 5. Now, there's two main things that we've asked y'all to focus in on. One is to take care of the big numbers, but there are no big numbers. The second thing we've always asked you to do is to add up all your letters, okay? Add these up. The problem is you've got a negative right here, okay? So we're not going to add, we're actually going to subtract. So 3 minus 17, you could say 3 plus a negative 17. But like I said, if you don't know what else to do, please add those small numbers and just see what happens, okay? So if we were to add these together right here and do, like I said, you can either do 3 plus negative 17 or 3 minus 17, either way. We get negative 14. Now, if you remember, we've told y'all can't have a negative exponent, but we can't flip this here. So if you get a negative number, then we have to put the negative number in the boxes. So this is, remember, the negative goes right there. You never put a number in that first box, and then the number goes afterwards. So it'd be a negative 14. The last test we took was on paper. I believe this test we're going to have to take it online. I don't think they're going to give us the option to take paper. So when we take paper, this is what it looks like right here. But when we that's what the grids look like. When we take it online, this is what the grids look like. Okay, and I think they're going to make us take it online. We'll see. All right, how are we doing on time? Oh dear Lord. Okay, I'm going to fly through it. What time is it? Okay, I'm doing good. All right, so this is all review. This top part right here. The bottom part is the new stuff actually for today. So what is the one thing I expect y'all to be able to do on this right here? So you get the test on Friday. I don't expect y'all to be able to handle all the little numbers, even though I hope there's some stuff you can do. What's the one thing I expect y'all to be able to do? Handle what? The big numbers. Okay, that's the one thing I expect y'all to be able to do. So when I say handle the big numbers, it's like you pretend that all the letters and their little numbers are gone, and all you see left is 2 times 3. Guys, you've been able to do 2 times 3 since what? Third grade, second grade? When did y'all learn how to multiply? It was a while ago, right? Okay. Now, I'm not saying that you even have to know actually what 2 times 3 is. I'm saying that there's no reason to be afraid of it. You can also put 2 times 3 in your calculator, okay? Let it do it. But don't be afraid of the big numbers. They're what they've always been. So 2 times 3 is 6. So if 2 times 3 is 6, what's the answer? Yeah, the only one that has 6 there is B. So, like I said, now it doesn't guarantee that's always going to happen, but there's a good shot. All right. Um, let's just go to 3 next so that I can scroll down afterwards. What's the only big number you see right here? 2. So we can eliminate A and we can eliminate B. There's no 2 there. Now, there is parentheses here, but it's not around the 2, so we don't care about those parentheses. All right, so now if you had to guess between these two, okay, which one do you think would be the more logical answer? Yeah, D by far, because look at all the Y's. Okay. So you may not know how to do all of this, but you just kind of look at it and, all right, try to do some stuff if you can do some stuff. Even if you added all the small numbers, it's definitely going to give you way more than 3. It's not going to give you 16, but it'll give you way more than 3. Okay. And so in the end, everything's pointing to that as the answer. And yes, it is. Now, if you actually want to know how to do it, you would multiply right here. I'm just going to do the x's real quick. So 4 times 3 would give me 12 x's. And then 12 plus 4 x's would give me 16 x's altogether. So, but in the end, take care of the big numbers. All right. Number 2 down here, take care of the big numbers. What do we got? 4 times 4. So you throw 4 times 4 in the calculator, you get 16. So we can eliminate C and we can eliminate D. So now we're going to try to count up stuff. I personally would count up the x's because they're all positive. I got 2 x's here and 1 x right there. What's 2 plus 1? 3. What's the only one that has 3 x's here? Hey, only one that has 3 x's right there. So like I said, even if you're not able to do everything, at least take care of the big numbers and then add up all the small numbers. Okay? And you'd be surprised at how well you're going to do. Do we got any big numbers here? Oh, it's kind of hiding in here, but there is a big number. Now, this is in parentheses. So the 2 is in parentheses. We got to put the parentheses, and then we got to have the 3 on the outside. So we're going to go plug this into our calculator. So parentheses 2 to the 3rd power, and we get 8. So mark it off if it doesn't have an 8. So it's not A and it's not D. All right. Do we see anything that might help us out here, or are we just going to have to flat guess? The one thing I would say that might help us out is all my A's are positive. How did this A get on the bottom? The only way A's could go to the bottom is if they were negative. Also, this only says 4 A's. I got 4 A's plus 3 A's right there. That would be 7. So if I had to guess, there's probably going to be a lot of A's, a lot more than 4 A's. And so I would probably go with B there. So like I said, if you're not sure, just start adding and seeing what happens. Add stuff up and just see what happens. If you get tricked, you get tricked on that one. At least you got it down to 50-50. I'm not doing it on time. All right. So right here, we have a couple of big numbers. We got this 2 that's in parentheses. So I got to put the squared on the outside, and then I got a 2 on the bottom. So you'll type this into the calculator exactly how it looks with just the big numbers, the fraction bar. So we'll go type this in. So we're going to go fraction parentheses 2. Yeah, I know. It's even worse when you don't have a calculator to do anything. Like all you're really doing is just listening to me. So I know that's boring. Over 2. So we hit enter and it gives us 2. So we're looking for a 2. Now notice there's no fraction bar. That means the 2 has to be on top as well. So we go look at this. If it doesn't have a 2, mark it off. This has a 2, but it's on the bottom. Our 2 didn't have a fraction. So if it didn't have a fraction, it has to be just a regular 2 on top. So it can't be that one. So the answer has to be B. And we got the answer just simply by plugging that in. All right, so this one right here, we've got big numbers. We got 2 over 2. Now notice the parentheses is huge. It includes everything, including the fraction in that right there. And then to the -4. So we'll go type that in. So we'll go parentheses first and then fraction. 2 over 2. Make sure you get out of the parentheses, close it to the -4, -4. And we get 1. Now remember, they don't always show 1, but there shouldn't be a big number. So unfortunately, we only get to eliminate this one. Guys, that's an extremely hard problem. So we're going to guess. Do we see anything we can eliminate? So first off, it has 2 B's here, but we know that something's going to be happening right here. So I at least know it's not going to stay at 2. It's definitely not going to stay at 2. Both of these say 8 B's, so it's probably 8 B's. We got A's on top and A's on bottom. Let's just guess here. I don't want to work this out. So what do you want to guess? Oh, if C's an option, I'm guessing C. Y'all can guess a different one, but if C's an option, I'm guessing C. Okay. And honestly, I'm not even sure that that's the answer. Oh, nope, it is. So C ends up being the answer. All right. So this is the new stuff. And this today is super easy. This is one of those that on the STAR test, we absolutely have to get. So the other day when I taught this to you, we did it without a calculator. Today, we're going to teach you how to do this with a calculator. And this is a must on the STAR test. And they usually give you 2 of these on the STAR test. Okay. So this is like 2 gimme questions right here. So anytime that we don't have any letters, we're going to plug this into the calculator. Now, if y'all remember, I taught y'all, I'm going to go ahead and just start all over just to clear this up. I taught y'all that it gives you a fraction. Now, to get this symbol right here, you hit Control and X squared. I want to make sure you know that there's another one, Control and this house top. Oh, no, let me delete all that. Control and house top. But do you see how it gives you that box right there? We don't want that box. Okay, so if it gives you this, we don't want it. So we want Control X squared. That should be the only one we hit in algebra. Okay, so Control X squared to get that, what we call the radical, the check mark thing. Okay, and then we're typing in, what was the number? Like 3, that was way up, 384. Hit enter, and we get a decimal. Now, here's what I want y'all to do, and I want y'all to do this right now. Okay, I want you to write down 19.5 right next to this right here. So you're going to write down, so write this on your paper, 19.5. I would always write this number down, okay? Now, you're going to start typing all these in, and you're going to see which one matches. It is possible to trick you, okay? It is possible to trick you. But on the STAR test, I've never seen them trick you. I think on some of these, they trick you. All right. I don't know about today, but I know we have some throughout the year as we're practicing this where they trick you, but we've never seen them trick on the STAR test. And so if you follow what we're doing, you should always get the right answer. Okay. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to start typing in your answers. So you're going to type in 8 square roots of 6. You just type it in the way you see it. The 8 is a big 8. Okay. So it's 8 and then square root of 6 and hit enter. Do those match? Then this is my answer right here. And that's all you're going to do. All you're doing is matching the decimals. Okay. Super, super easy. Like I said, this is a gimme question. Okay. We absolutely have to get these. These will be on your test on Friday. And those are easy right there. So if you're missing those, yeah, I'm probably not going to be nice to you on your test. Okay. But you're taking care of those right there. And if we can take care of big numbers and you fail the test, I'm going to bump you up to pass. Okay. So that's what I want to make sure is that we at least handle these right here. All right. So 250 square root of 256. I actually already know the answer to this because my teacher made us memorize squares. We had to memorize the squares all the way up to 30, but since y'all get to use a calculator, we don't have to. So 256, hit enter, and the answer is 16. Yeah, yeah. So you know how before I told you couldn't do that? Now, and the only reason we could do it is because it's multiple choice. So next year in geometry, like when y'all are just doing your regular homework assignments, they're not going to be multiple choice. So your teachers are going to want you to work these out by hand. But when you get to the test and it's multiple choice, you can just type them into the calculator. So, by the way, I think this is pretty much official. So I think I can tell you guys, I think next year we will no longer be using those calculators because they're saying the calculators do too much for you. And so we still get a graphing calculator. So I say this, make sure you pass the STAR test this year. Because next year you have to know more algebra to pass it. This year we still get to use those calculators. Okay. Now, I know in the future we're definitely getting rid of the calculators. It may not be but 2 years away. It just depends. It's either next year or 2 years away. I think we're losing those calculators. And I've heard it's official that we're not going to be able to use them at Waco High no more. And so, yeah. So make sure y'all, in a way, y'all are blessed, because, the kids coming up, there's certain things that the menu 5.1, the other calculators don't have menu 5.1. So they lose a lot of stuff. So, you really want to make sure that this year you are tuned into this stuff. All right. So all we're doing once again is just type this into the calculator. When you get the decimal, we got write down the decimal. That's the big thing is when you get the decimal, write it down. So we're going to go the square root of 320. And so we get 17.8. And so we're going to write down 17.8. So that is the big thing. If you will write that down, then you should be able to get this. So now we're doing 8 square roots of 5. So 8 square roots of 5, hit enter. It's always nice when they're all 8, huh? So if they match, that's your answer right there. I'm not. Now, here's how they trick you. On the STAR test, there should only be one right answer. But the way they trick you is they will give you other answers that also come out because they're not simplified all the way. And the way to beat that is you always pick the one with the biggest number on the outside. So if you get 2 numbers that are the same, then whatever has the biggest number on the outside, that's your answer. On the STAR test, you shouldn't have to worry about it. We've never seen them try to trick anybody. But we will see some just so that we cover it. So square root and yeah, I'm not going to lie. I don't. First one I see, that's what I'm going with. So number 72, number 10 is square root of 72. So square root of 72, we get 8.4. So 8.4. And so we're going to type in, I definitely know it's not C. 8.4 can't become 16. So it's definitely not C. So we're going to do 16 square root of 2. So 16 square root of 2. Okay, that's not it. We're going to do 6 square root of 2. So 6 square root of 2. Oh, that's it right there. Exact 8.4. So answer is B.